A woman who walks alone is not lost. She is simply following a path no one else is brave enough to take. Some women shake the room without saying a word. They don't seek attention, yet they have it. They don't chase approval, yet they are respected. They don't dominate, yet their presence alone can shift the energy of any space they enter. They are the women who move differently, the ones who don't follow trends, don't bend to pressure, and don't explain themselves. And because they operate outside the norm, they make some people uncomfortable. Sigma ladies, today we're diving into why women like us aren't just misunderstood. We are a force that people can't ignore. There are deep psychological reasons why a Sigma female's presence alone can unnerve, intimidate, and even challenge those around her. If you're tired of watered-down explanations and ready for the raw truth, then you're in the right place. But before we get started, if you're new here and resonate with the mindset of a true Sigma female, make sure to subscribe to the Sigma Lady. This is where we decode the power, depth, and strategy behind the woman who walks alone, but walks strong. Now, let's break it down. She doesn't need to raise her voice to be heard. She doesn't need to demand attention. It finds her anyway. People are used to loud personalities being the ones in control, but when a woman walks in with quiet confidence, she disrupts the social norm. She makes people second-guess themselves, not because she's trying to, but because she doesn't operate on the same frequency as the rest of the room. Her presence alone is enough to shift the energy. She doesn't enter spaces loudly, yet people notice when she arrives. She doesn't seek approval, yet people find themselves unconsciously seeking hers. There is an intensity in her silence, a weight in her gaze, and an unspoken power in the way she carries herself. She is not trying to prove anything, yet those around her feel as if they need to prove something to her. Most people expect a certain level of social performance from others. They expect small talk, exaggerated gestures, and an eagerness to please. But the Sigma female doesn't engage in unnecessary theatrics. She does not laugh at jokes that aren't funny, does not fake interest in conversations that do not stimulate her mind, and does not engage in meaningless pleasantries just to make others comfortable. This disrupts the social dynamic because most people rely on these behaviors to navigate interactions. When people cannot read someone, they feel uneasy. When they cannot predict how someone will react, they feel uncertain. And uncertainty breeds discomfort. The Sigma female does not provide the usual cues that people expect. She does not give away her thoughts easily, nor does she offer unnecessary explanations for her actions. This creates an air of mystery, one that some find intriguing, but others find intimidating. There is also an element of self-assurance that makes others second-guess themselves. Many people rely on external validation to feel secure, but the Sigma female's sense of self is internally built. She does not seek approval before making decisions. She does not hesitate when she speaks. She does not look around the room to see if others agree with her before forming an opinion. This kind of certainty makes those who lack it feel insecure in their own convictions. Some people admire this quality. They are drawn to the quiet strength, the unwavering confidence, and the ability to remain unshaken in a world that demands conformity. But others? They mistake her silence for judgment. They assume that because she does not seek approval, she must be looking down on those who do. They project their own insecurities onto her, interpreting her composure as arrogance rather than self-mastery. And so, without saying a word, the Sigma female disrupts the unspoken rules of social engagement, not by choice, not by force, but simply by being who she is. She does not need to follow the crowd to feel secure. She does not shift her values to match those of the majority. While most people find comfort in aligning themselves with popular opinions, the Sigma female is perfectly content standing alone. This independence of thought is rare, and because it is rare, It unsettles those who rely on collective agreement to feel validated. Many people are unaware of how much they depend on social approval until they encounter someone who doesn't. When most people form opinions, they do so with an awareness of how those opinions will be received. They tailor their words to avoid conflict, soften their stances to appear agreeable, and sometimes even adopt beliefs they don't truly hold just to fit in. But the Sigma female does not filter her perspective through the lens of social acceptance. She speaks and acts based on her own internal compass, regardless of how it will be perceived. This kind of independence is intimidating because it forces others to question their own authenticity. It shines a light on how much they bend, adjust, and shape themselves to meet external expectations. And when faced with a woman who does not do the same, they are left with a choice: either respect her for her authenticity or resent her for exposing their own lack of it. The Sigma female's detachment from social validation also means she does not engage in groupthink. She does not follow trends just because they are popular, nor does she adopt opinions simply because they are widely accepted. This refusal to conform makes her an anomaly in any social setting. She cannot be pressured, she cannot be swayed, and she cannot be guilted into agreement. People who are used to controlling narratives find this frustrating. They are used to influencing others with social pressure, but when they encounter a woman who is immune to that pressure, they feel powerless. And rather than acknowledging her strength, some choose to label her as difficult or intimidating simply because she does not bend to their will. Her ability to think independently also makes her a natural problem solver. She does not seek solutions from the crowd, she finds them within herself. This self-sufficiency is admirable to some but threatening to others. Those who rely on external guidance may feel inadequate in comparison, not because she intends to make them feel that way, but because her independence highlights their own dependence. And so, her presence alone becomes a challenge. Not because she seeks to challenge anyone, but because her mere existence forces people to confront truths they might not be ready to face. She has an ability that many fear, a sharp and intuitive understanding of human nature. She doesn't just listen to what people say, she sees beyond their words. She picks up on subtle facial expressions, shifts in body language, and inconsistencies between what someone claims and what their energy truly reveals. She can sense insincerity before it's spoken, detect insecurity hidden behind arrogance, and recognize when someone is putting on a performance rather than being their true self. This level of perception is rare, and it makes people uncomfortable, not because she does anything to expose them, but because they know they can't hide from her. In a world where so many thrive on facades, where people carefully craft their words to shape how they are perceived, the Sigma female is a silent disruptor. She cannot be deceived, and those who rely on deception find that unsettling. People are used to playing social games. They expect others to fall for their charm, their carefully calculated words, their attempts at manipulation. But the Sigma female does not react as expected. She remains calm when others expect an emotional response. She remains neutral when others try to provoke her. And most of all, she does not offer false validation just to make someone feel better about themselves. This makes some people feel exposed. They may wonder, what does she see in me that I don't see in myself? Does she know that I'm insecure? Can she tell that I'm not as confident as I pretend to be? This self-awareness can be uncomfortable, especially for those who have spent their lives avoiding their own deeper truths. Instead of embracing the opportunity for growth, some will label her as cold or unapproachable. They will assume that because she doesn't engage in surface-level flattery, she must be distant or uninterested. But in reality, she simply values depth over performance. She is not here to entertain egos. She is here to connect on a real level. This is why manipulators fear her. They know that their usual tricks will not work. They can't guilt her into submission, they can't sweet-talk their way into her trust, and they can't pressure her into doing something that does not align with her values. She is a wall they cannot climb, a code they cannot crack, a challenge they cannot overcome. And because they cannot control her, they resent her. Instead of admitting that they are powerless against her awareness, they frame her as difficult, intimidating, or even too much. But what they truly mean is that she is too aware, too strong, too independent to be manipulated. Her presence alone exposes the weaknesses of others, not because she seeks to, but because people cannot help but reveal their true selves around her. Some rise to the occasion, appreciating her honesty and authenticity, but others, they shrink, feeling uncomfortable in the reflection she provides, and that is why she intimidates, because she is real in a world full of illusions. She does not exist within the social structures that dictate most interactions. She is neither a leader seeking followers, nor a follower seeking direction. She exists outside of the hierarchy, and this makes her an anomaly that people struggle to define. Most people categorize others into traditional roles: alpha, beta, dominant, submissive. They expect clear power dynamics in social settings. But the Sigma female does not play by those rules. She is not interested in dominance, nor does she seek validation through submission. She is simply herself, operating on her own terms, regardless of the structures others have built around her. This independence makes her difficult to place. People don't know whether to challenge her, follow her, or try to impress her. And because they cannot fit her into their predefined categories, they feel uncomfortable. They expect her to conform to the same social expectations that everyone else follows, and when she doesn't, it unsettles them. She does not compete for attention, but she gets it. She does not demand respect, but she commands it. She does not try to stand out, but she is impossible to overlook. This paradox creates confusion. People wonder, how does she have so much influence without even trying? They expect power to be loud, aggressive, or assertive. But her power is different. It is quiet, effortless, and completely natural. This level of autonomy is rare, especially among women, who are often pressured to pick a side in social hierarchies. They are expected to either take on leadership roles or follow those in power. But the Sigma female rejects this binary choice. She does not need a title, a position, or external recognition to feel complete. She is whole within herself, and that completeness is both inspiring and intimidating. To those who thrive on hierarchy, her existence is disruptive. She represents the idea that power does not have to be fought for, it can simply be owned, and this truth shakes those who have spent their lives struggling for control. She is not playing the game, but she is still winning. And that, Sigma ladies, is why people don't know how to handle her. She does not seek validation, approval, or emotional dependency. Her happiness does not rely on the presence of others, nor does she measure her worth based on external feedback. This makes her incredibly powerful, but it also makes her deeply misunderstood. Most people are uncomfortable with solitude. They fear being alone because for them, solitude means isolation, insignificance, or even rejection. But for the Sigma female, solitude is freedom. It is the space where she thrives, recharges, and connects with herself on a deeper level. Because she does not fear being alone, she does not tolerate relationships that drain her energy. She does not stay in toxic environments for the sake of belonging. She does not entertain people who do not align with her values. This kind of decisiveness is rare. Most people settle for less because they fear the alternative, and that is what makes her intimidating. People cannot manipulate her with loneliness. They cannot pressure her into staying in situations that do not serve her. She walks away without hesitation when something no longer aligns with her purpose. This ability to detach confuses and intimidates those who are used to seeing women as emotionally dependent. Society has conditioned many to believe that a woman should need something, whether it be validation, companionship, or approval. But the Sigma female does not operate under this conditioning. She does not stay where she is not valued. She does not beg for attention. She does not chase anyone, ever. And that level of emotional independence makes her untouchable. For some, this is inspiring. They see her as a role model, proof that a woman can be powerful without external reinforcement. But for others, it is threatening. They do not understand how she can be so self-sufficient, so unaffected, so in control of her own emotional world. And so, rather than admitting that they are intimidated by her strength, they project their insecurities onto her. They call her too distant, too independent, or even too much. But the truth is, she is none of those things. She is simply free. And nothing is more intimidating than a woman who cannot be controlled. And that, Sigma ladies, is why we are not just different. We are a force. It's not about being feared. It's not about proving anything to anyone. It's about existing in our own power, in a world that is still learning how to handle women who refuse to conform. You don't have to be loud to be heard. You don't have to seek validation to be valued. You don't have to play their game to win. You just have to be you. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to the Sigma Lady. This is where we embrace the mindset, strategy, and psychology of women who move differently. Until next time, stay sharp, stay independent, and keep walking your own path.